When I was, I guess, a junior, one of my dreams was to get into the business school, and I was able to sit down with Dr. Plachta, and he was the dean of the college at the time, and he gave me some advice on what I needed to do and how to get into the school and what I needed to do to be successful. If there's a path anywhere that I can trace back to a point in my time that got me on this track, it was that conversation that I had with Dr. Plachta.
You could see in his actions that he basically had expectations of you, that you knew what you were talking about. He had a wry sense of humor, very focused, and I think that the kind of guy that serves both the students and the university very well.
I mean, he came through the ranks. He received a PhD from Michigan State. He had been at the University of Detroit and Alma College before he came here. So when he entered Central Michigan University in the 1970s, he entered at the rank of full professor. But he had the perspective of a longtime faculty member when he became dean in 1980.
I could tell that he had a love and passion to work with students to make them successful in a business career.
Way back in the 70s when I was in the business school, and at that time I was one of 4 women in the business school, if you can believe that, and Dr. Plachta was my accounting professor, and I really thought I would hate accounting and it would be really boring, and honestly Dr. Plachta was my favorite professor. He was inspiring as a teacher, and somehow he made accounting, which you would think would be the most boring subject in the world, interesting.
There were 3 of us in the class that really kind of got to know him outside of class a bit, and when it came to the final exam that year, we, after the exam, now this is 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night, begged and pleaded to get Leonard Plachta to come down to the Bird and have a beer with us. He said he would come. We weren't sure, but we went down there anyhow, and sure enough, he showed up, and I'll be darned, I think that's the first beer Leonard ever drank. He drank a beer and shucked some peanuts with us. And during that time, I asked him for a piece of parting advice. And his advice to me was, make your contacts early in life.
He would always say, dress professionally, act professionally. I've seen him many times over his career at basketball games or coming to the office on a Saturday or Sunday, and Leonard was wearing a suit and tie.
I remember one of the female instructors in accounting once saying, because Leonard was known as a person who always dressed fairly formally, and she would jokingly say a couple of times, I would just love to see the tie that Leonard has for his pajamas.
He and Mrs. Plachta were quite a team. If you were a non-traditional student here, things were pretty hard. Nothing was set up for you. You were just kind of out there. And he and Mrs. Plachta and Louise set up just practical common sense things to help, you know, like a single parent meet up with some other single parents and share information. Maybe I'll watch your children while you're in whatever. And I know that sounds like maybe a small thing, but if you're a non-traditional student trying to make it here, those things, those sensitive, thoughtful things make a huge difference.
When I was on a tenure track, kind of sweating over what I had to do to get tenure, he laid it out for me perfectly. I followed everything he told me to do, and I got the tenure without any problem. Everything he said to me all his life was honest, forthright, and you could always trust his word. You never had to doubt it for an instant.
He had a saying, when a conversation was going on and it wasn't really getting anywhere, he would say, this conversation is deteriorating. I'm very pleased to say that in all the conversations I had with him, I never heard him say that in my presence.
Whatever he did, he persevered until he could, bring something to closure.
To this day, I keep in my office a picture, and I always look at this each and every day when I have a problem of any kind and ask myself, what would Leonard Plachta do?
The qualities over the years that impressed me most about Leonard is his strong business leadership, his integrity, his dedication to students, to the university, to the college, his love and passion to teaching. And I believe Leonard is well deserving of this particular award.